Okay, we have our PLNs on social media. This is the face-to-face one, and it's just as important, if not more so, to be able to reach out to the folks that are around us and figure out these excellent things that are happening in other districts and share them. Okay, so I'm going to start calling people up just sort of randomly on this list of what you're already signed up to do. But if you have an idea, you want to sign something up, in a little while as we go through the pre-signed up people, I'm going to say, hey, do you want to do something? Just raise your hand and you come on up to the mic and you'll present your little thing. We've got a computer here. If you want to plug in an iPad, if you have your own dongle, which I know Carol always has, like her whole entire, like she's like the, who's that guy again? Like,
wired.
MacGyver. She's the MacGyver of dongles. I've seen her case. It's pretty impressive. And I think that there's actually a way to plug it in the back. I remember that from last year. We were able to plug in the iPads in the back. So we might be able to figure that out. We've got enough tech heads in here to be able to figure that out. So we'll do that. So the first person who I'm going to call, and I'm going to kind of call you up and call people on deck like baseball, so that you can get ready and kind of get your thoughts together and everything else. So the first person who's going to present something is going to be is Sean Fisher-Rode here. Sean, yeah. Sean, you ready to go first?
Sure.
Okay, so Sean's going to go first, and then Charlene, you're going to go second.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yep.
And then let's have Pam Owens in the hole. So we got Sean at that, Charlene's on deck, and Pam Owens you're in the hole. Okay? So we'll give Sean a second to come on down here, and then and we'll keep calling out names, getting you going. You can use this computer here, like I said, or an iPad.
Sorry, I'm looking for the mic on.
Carol, talk to Carol. She's got down there.
Got it.
She had her tech cabin over there.
I'm telling you, Carol, can you hold that up? Can I hold that up?
Sorry.
Okay, Carol is my hero, and here's why.
Wow. Wow.
Is that the coolest thing you've ever seen?
That is cool.
All right.
She's got a tech bag. Super Don, you know you want this. Casey, you do too. All right.
Oh, that's right.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, everybody. My name is Sean Fisher-Rode. Everybody just calls me Fish at my school. I teach over at Palatine High School in High School District 211. I teach freshmen through seniors. I teach earth science, freshman homeroom, and astronomy. And over the last few years, my teaching has gone through an amazing transformation as I've been jumping into ed tech. And so I'm always excited to share a lot of the tools that I've been using. I flipped my classroom 100% last year, so I won't go into all the specifics of that, but if anybody ever needs any help or any resources for how to flip your classroom, why to flip your classroom, any of the benefits that I've seen since I flipped my classroom, I'd be more than happy to talk about that. But instead of getting into that right now, unless if anybody would like to get into it, you know, I know over here in 109 it's a Google district, and so we're just kind of getting into GAF. We're just turning into a Google district as well, and I've been jumping into it and learning about extensions and apps that I'm really into lately. And also using Google for a lot more than just a search engine and some of the ways to customize that. Like for example, I had no clue until I went to a GAF conference, Google Apps for Education conference, that if you just search into Google, if you're at your Google thing here, and you search on something about American Revolution, I don't know why I thought of that, but why not? You put in there the American Revolution, that you get a whole wide range of things. Google kicked out, what is that, 105 million hits in 0.16 seconds. But not all those may be relevant for me, and I want to search those by reading level. Do you guys know how to filter by reading level?
No.
It's pretty amazing. So first of all, maybe I want some current events. This is getting better on the iPad. These advanced search options are definitely better in the iPad. But if you're on your desktop there, what you do is you go to your search tools. Guy all the way there to the right, you have your web, your images, your maps, your shopping, etc. And then all the way there at the bottom, underneath your regular search options, now we have some new filters that show up. And so the very first thing that you can do if you're doing a current events, something on maybe the American Revolution, which makes no sense, but you can filter articles by the past month, by the past year, by the past week, past 24 hours. So if you're doing any sort of current events article, to filter by that time is pretty awesome. It helps your students stay current, relevant. Some other things that I like doing, other than getting just into the time frame here, is, you know, not all my students are at the same place. I have a lot of ELL students and a lot of students that maybe would be a little more advanced. And I want to go ahead and I want to filter by reading level. I want to filter by reading level. And then I can go ahead and sort any way I want by reading level by clicking on that, by this guy right here. There's this little extra option right over here. And I select on reading level. I can also do all results or maybe someplace nearby. And I can then click on the basic, the intermediate, or the advanced, however I want to get it, and it will give me the articles within the time frame that I want based on the reading level that I want. Yes?
What would you estimate would be the audience for each of those articles?
You know what, that's a really good question. You have to kind of play with it. For my regular level students that are sophomores in my astronomy classes, we've been sticking with intermediate. The basic seems to be just that. You'll see a lot of Wikipedia that's really watered down. But then with the intermediate level, there are some challenging things. They still have to go through, they still have to use the dictionary a lot, and there are some words they still have to define. So it really is something you kind of have to play with a little bit. And I also found that it changes. You know, I found that it changes too, depending on the subject matter that you're getting into. If I search for something, you know, based on gravity or something, you know, the Voyager 2 spacecraft that just left the solar system. If I go on advanced, I'm getting some really advanced things out there, college level articles. We did an intermediate search today for that as well. And we had to we went to the basic level to find some things that the students could really understand. So it's something that you really do have to play with, and it does change based on the subject matter. So any other questions? Awesome. I'm not sure if you guys, so these are just some advanced, or not advanced, so some basic search tools that you can get into with going beyond just your basic search. A couple of other things that I've really enjoyed is when you go to images, you can do an advanced image search. Now my screen here is a little bit different here. You can do an advanced image search by color, size, type, when you want that image search. So not all these options here that we're doing for a web search also apply in the image search. One other tool that I wanted to mention, and then I'll get off the stage and let, so we have two quick things. One will be apps and extensions, and one will be related to Google Docs. Google Docs users, a lot of Google Docs users. You guys know about the research tool within Google Docs?
No.
Yeah, guys, everybody's familiar. I won't waste time getting into it.
No.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. This is probably one of the greatest things beyond the collaboration that Google offers. I love this option. So you're in Google Drive, students are working, and they're creating a document on something, and maybe they're working collaboratively, whatever they're doing, and they're doing something on glaciers. And whatever research project they're doing or whatever it is, and they need to go out and they need to do a little bit of research on here. So what you do is you highlight glaciers, and you go to Tools, and under Tools you go to Research, and in a separate side pane, joined in with your document, you now get a web search for glaciers going all the way down the side. But here's the greatest. This is just the beginning. You're searching glaciers and you really like this Wikipedia. I'm going to try to scroll over. It's a little difficult. Maybe if I zoom down a little bit. No, that didn't help. It kind of chops it off a little bit. I really like this guy here, and I want to put this Wikipedia article into my paper. Right over here to the far right, it's kind of hidden there. I click Cite, and notice right away I got that little citation right there where it says glaciers. And if I scroll down, it throws it in.
Wow.
And in addition, you can go to the More options and you can select APA, MLA, Chicago, whatever formatting option you want. So you don't need to spend weeks and weeks teaching the proper way to format that they're not going to remember anyway. So you just go ahead and throw that stuff right in there, and it's perfect. And they can get down to the research instead of worrying about how to cite the research. In addition, you found it also works for images. So you just click right here on the G. Instead of doing a Google search, I'm going to filter searches by images. And I really like this glacier, so I'm going to throw it in there. And then I just dragged it in, and then it also cites it. So automatically.
That's wonderful.
So I love this. This is a game changer. It's a game changer for me. You know, it's super fly fast. You know, you go to conferences all the time, and have you heard of Google Apps and Google extensions and stuff like that? I love things like Flubaroo and Doctopus and all that stuff, and that's a way to manage my classroom with all these. If you guys want to know about these, I don't want to take up too much time. I'm more than happy to sit down with you and show you. But one of the things that I tweet a lot, and I hate it when I go to tweet something and the URL is forever. There's a little Google extension that you can get from the Google store. It's this little guy right up here, and it's the Google shortener. You ever see those little .goo things, you know, and wonder how everybody gets all those? It's just a little app within inside Google Chrome. And you just click it, and whatever website you're on, it will give you the shortened little URL for whatever you're getting into. So it's just, and I can show you guys how to get into the App Store and stuff like that.
You could just type in goo.gl in your address bar.
It will go to, and what you do is that little guy right there, that go.gl and that S88, whatever it is, it'll take you right to that website. And or is that another way to do it? I'm sorry.
Goo.gl.
And that does it.
Yeah.
That does it. Awesome. You know, you can just copy it right there and paste it to wherever you want. So, question?
No, just comment about the goo.gl. One thing that's nice is if you are already logged into your Google Docs and you go to goo.gl, it saves all of them.
Oh, that's
so
really
it
nice.
saved your last
Like your
URL.
history?
So it's like a history. So if you forget what was that again, you didn't copy and paste it somewhere else.
That's really
Did
nice.
I forget?
And you can get statistics too.
Yeah. Sure. Any questions, comments, anything else?
Goo.gl.
All right, good. Go Google.
We're gonna start it, thank you, Sean. So, you've got Pam on deck, you've got
I don't see
Tracy
it.
Hoyt after that, after Pam Owens, and then Tim O'Connor's Tim here? Yep. Tim, you'll be after Tracy.
Well, I know Stephanie's fine. And I want to
Yep.
Hi there. Hi. Yep. Okay, I'm Charlene Chassis. I'm former president of NICE and president-elect for ICE now coming up. So you'll be seeing a lot of I want to show just a couple of things, and one of the things I wanted to show is that there's some new changes in Google Forms coming out. Now, you may not see this in your Google Forms yet because it just was released last week. And depending upon when your Google Apps for Education was set up, you might be on first release or not. So if you don't see this, it's coming to your forms as well. But the screen just went blank. Come back here. Thank you. Okay, so the things that you can do now with new Google Forms is that you can embed YouTube videos. So I don't know if you know that you can put images in forms now when you add a new thing. Well, when you go to add a question or put in something new, so I'm just going to go down here and add an item. What you're going to see now is this new button at the bottom that says video. And just like you can put video into a PowerPoint or the Google presentations, it only does YouTube, but you can go out and search in YouTube to add a YouTube video and then have your students watch that and then ask questions. So when you go and select video, there's your video search. You could paste in the URL, but say you wanted to learn about that Flubaroo that Sean was telling us about. And you can go out and search in YouTube and come up with all the different YouTube videos. And then you can insert that right into your form and then have your students answer questions based on what they saw in the video. So that's coming to your form soon if you don't already have it. It just was announced last week. The other thing that you can do is that you can also now put some controls on your some validation controls on your question. So like this question said, what was the most important iPad rule? This is the video that our students made last year. And that your answer cannot be more than 140 characters. So you can actually put in the data validation of what you want that to be. So you can give them a minimum character count or a maximum character count. And if they go over what you told them, you can give them a little oops message that's too many characters, and they can go and try again. So you can have a data validation for text, and you can also have, it has to contain or not contain or match something, and then you can say no, try again. So you can give them little hints on what they put in. Maureen?
Do you know, can you have it so like you type an email address, there's a second question that it's gotta match the one right before, so they're typing the same email address twice?
I don't know that you can have a condition on another question. I think it's only on the answer that you're doing, and it can evaluate that question, but I don't think based on, you know, like you can say enter your email address, and you can say it doesn't contain an @ sign, then you can put in a little thing that says that doesn't seem to be an email address. But that's about as much as I know that you can do. So those are a couple of things that are coming up in Google Forms. If you don't have them yet, they will be coming soon. While I've got the floor, I've got 2 more things to show. This summer, I was fortunate to go to San Antonio and go to ISTE. And I don't know if you've ever been to ISTE, but that's like the parent organization for ICE and NICE and all of us. And if you go to the YouTube channel and just search for ISTE 2013, you will find complete keynote presentations, full sessions that you can find. So you want some, you know, self-PD here. They have some playlists that you can get to that have all of the presentations. So like there's the conference playlist, and you'll see a whole bunch of different, like even short little snippets about different presentations. But I don't know if you've heard that Adam Bello had an awesome keynote at the end, like a closing keynote that everyone should watch. So if you have a chance, it's like 45 minutes long, but it's very, very inspiring. If you want something to show to your teachers and be inspired, watch Adam Bello's closing keynote. It's amazing. So just go to YouTube, search ISTE 2013, and that'll be something that you'll love. And then one more thing while I have you. How many of you are using iPads in education? So almost half the room. There is a website that you can go to that will make PDFs on your iPad from a website. So if you have a website, you want to turn it into a PDF because you want to mark it up in Notability or something like that. It's called printfriendly.com. And I thought I brought it up here, but I'll just go ahead and type it in. Make any web page print friendly. So this actually works on your iPad. So if you have a website that you want to turn into a PDF, grab that URL, go to printfriendly.com on your iPad, paste that URL in. It'll generate then a PDF that you can download into your iPad, one of your note takers or something like that, or iBooks or something like that. Karen?
This also works in Chrome and Safari and all of them, and there's little extensions that you can do, and it takes away the garbage.
Yes, because it keeps it nice and clean, so it makes a nice clean PDF. But the thing is, you can do it from the iPad. I thought was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So that's my slam. Slam.
Thank you, Charlene. Okay, we may have to do it up here. We're gonna move to that. Okay. Where'd that go?
All right, I'm Pam Owens from Half Day School in Lincolnshire, and this is, I'm a reading specialist, and this is more elementary. So, it's a
Pam, where are you from again?
Lincolnshire Half Day School,
That's it.
and we have a school of just 3rd and 4th graders, about a little less than 400 kids. And one of the problems that, well, challenges that we've had is we have a lot of different materials that are housed in various places in our school, and we have a wonderful media center, and everything is through our Destiny library system, and it's a wonderful resource, but we have all these other resources for teachers, like multiple copies of novels and different book collections, and they're in, one of them's in a closet, and another one is in the copy room. And so what we did was we inventoried these materials using a program. It's an iPad program, but it's also one available through it's a web-based program. However, I don't have it web-based because you need 10.8 on your Mac, and I don't have 10.8 on my Mac yet. And so, but it's also an iPad program, and it's called Book Crawler, and it's a $1.99 app, or it's 99 cents with the Educator Bod card. So it's pretty cheap. And what we did was we scanned our books. It has a little program where if you, I'm used to presenting this way here, if you want to do a new book, you say new, you can do it manually. So like many of our titles were old, I could type them in. Most of the books, though, we could find in Google Books if they were old, but if they had a scanner, the little scanner comes up and you scan the book, and it pulls in all the information about the book. Oh, sorry there. That you just kind of, you do, and it gives you information, and this is all the information that would come up. It has a picture, it has the author, and then we input where the books were found. So this book is found in the reading room. Look at the Moon. However, we have different collection in different places, so we could tell where you could find it. And then the other important information was right here, the reading level. We were able to tell, we used the Fontes and Pinnell guided reading level, so we leveled the books by that information we just put in there. And then we put some tags, which we can use for sorting, and then how many copies of the book there are. So where you can find it, how many copies, and if it was in more than one location. You can sort the books, they're sorted by titles right here, but I could sort them by reading levels here. And then I can, in addition, we have like in 4th grade, they're going to be doing a unit on empathy, and there's 10 different books, and now they're sorted. We have, because of, these are the different books that we have that are on empathy, and it tells you which different levels. So as you're forming your reading groups, you can look at the different levels and where you might reach out to the kids. And then you can see here, when you tag onto the book, okay, the thing about Georgie, I'm not sure what that's about. Well, I can hit the addition information, and it'll give me a little summary of the book, and this is through Google Reads. So this website, or this app, it interfaces with the Google Reads. So the books, are all available through there. And then we have here, like if there were different books. So we input the tags ourselves, how we wanted to tag them. So it's not to replace, a whole library system. It's not that complicated at all. It's more for looking at your trade books. You could do it if a teacher wanted to do it for their classroom or different storage, or you just wanted to do it individually. You may have, elementary teachers have these huge libraries, and somebody says, do you have this copy, or how many do you have? And it's a way that you could do it pretty simply. We did this in teams. We had about 5 teachers this summer, and one did the one closet, one did this, the other room. And so, each teacher did about 60 or 70 books, and we have about a 600 book, 600 titles. And now we know if I want to do a novel on a certain topic, I know which books we have and who might have them and where I might find them. It is web-based in the sense that we could scan and check them out, but we're not there yet because we weren't able to put it on the computer yet. So right now, it's just iPad only. So you could do it just as a teacher or as a school. Yes?
So this is done by a school account then? You have a school account, and then all the data is stored in the cloud, and then anyone that signs into this app with your school account can access it.
For the iPad, the database, we had a bunch of different people with different iPads inputting. It was kind of standalone on the iPads, but we were able to merge this through Google. We just put them into the Google Drive, and then we uploaded them, and then I went around to the iPads and just uploaded it. I just logged in for myself rather than show everybody how to do it the first time. So as we update it, we can do that. And then it has, I think the reason we chose it is it has frequent updates, and there were a lot of, it was the app developer actually responded to question and has continued to work on it because we looked at a bunch of different ones. So, pretty simple.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you so much. Okay, we had, I think, Tracy are up next, and then we've got Tim on deck, and Barbara Smith. Is Barbara here? No? Marcy Foster next. And then Linda Hartman, you'll be after Marcy.
Hi, I'm Tracy Hoyt. I'm the differentiation coach at Wilmot School. Mine's created by me, so it's not very pretty, but it's been really wonderful to help all of the teachers look at data in the buildings very objectively. Our school has been focusing on student-centered coaching, and Diane Sweeney really supported the use of data walls.
No, why did the man lose his job in the orange juice factory?
Why?
He couldn't concentrate.
Oh.
Because of confidentiality, we're not gonna show what it is, the actual.
We're gonna show for like 2 seconds,
No one look at me.
just so that you can get an idea of what it looks like.
What did you use to create it? Google Drive?
Okay, it's Google Drive. We used a Google Doc, and what we did was we sorted for different strands. So we took we took all the kids and we made a card. And basically, Diane Sweeney talks about making a data wall in a room, and you're supposed to put the data all over a room and shut the door. And you can move each trimester or each data period. You move kids to different positions on the wall. We found that to be very difficult. We didn't have the space, and so we decided to do it virtually. And we made a data wall that has every grade, every class, and we put by teacher. I might have by teacher and by score. We sorted them, and then after we sorted them, we also linked it to a page. So we have all of the RTI data for each student. So if you click on each kid's card, it's almost like flipping over the note card, and on the back of the note card, it goes through the history that that child has starting back in kindergarten. Any RTI, if they've been in enrichment, if they've had any information, all of those graphs and everything are put right into that document. And so when next year's teacher gets that list of students, they could go and view. We turn over the data wall, and then they get to view their students and all of the RTI data, and it shows where they've come, where they've progressed. And the teachers are responsible for moving their students over to the next spot. And then as soon as the students, we start to see right away if kids haven't made any movement. And we notice the kids that if they're staying in the same spot and aren't making movement over a certain amount of time, we're questioning why that is. And the opposite, if we're noticing on the strand for math facts that all of these kids are moving over and they're from the same class, the teachers have been having the discourse and communication, and they're saying, what are you doing in your class that all of your students are moving over, and they're making all of this progress. And so then all of the teachers are trying that, and it's really been a great objective way for us to look at data.
Okay, back up.
Yeah.
You guys are why our school is starting this. My question is, I guess I'm kind of curious on the back end organization of it.
Okay.
Every class has a folder, I'm assuming, in Google Docs?
No. I'll show you.
That's what I'm trying to understand. Like
Let me
you
find
track
a
it.
blank. Hold on.
Yeah, with the program. Tap dance now. Little piano.
Here it is.
Oh, so you haven't, okay. Okay.
So
So now is this is just the F&P data.
we decided what we wanted to do in terms of what data we were looking at. So we made an F&P one. This year we're going to make a math one. We did one for math strands based on our school improvement plan. And what we did was each one of those, imagine it as a note card.
Right.
And so the green was for one teacher, blue was another teacher, red was another teacher. Then what we did was so for example, when we're doing math this year, we're gonna say below the 20th percentile, 40th percentile, and kind of group them. And then sort all the kids.
And each kid in Mrs. Smith's class is green.
Yes, each kid in Mrs. Smith's class is green. And then we linked each one of those squares to a form where we are taking notes on if the kid has not made any movement, we'll write on the back, we noticed that there's no movement, and so we're kind of keeping track of what we're doing. And something that was difficult in our school was there was so much change in paperwork, and this way everybody knows exactly what the history has been.
And so the box is linked just to another Google Doc for Johnny.
Exactly, and that's called student information forms, and it can be viewed but not changed. So teachers of that student can view that student but not alter it. Only our coaches in our building can alter it.
So you put the student name, the color underneath the teacher, put the student name on how to activate it, it will flip and give you the other information.
Okay, we linked each box. We linked the box to a document.
Like, this is actually Google Drive.
Okay.
So each of the boxes, then you create a link to a separate Google document depending on the kid. Each kid's gonna be a document on their own kid.
Yes, yes. And then on a real, like this one doesn't have names on it, but on the real ones, we have a key on the side. So kids that were in tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 interventions, if they have a red ring around it, that means that they're in an intervention. If it had a yellow ring, it means they had an IEP. So we even used this format for class placements because we needed to know for the next year if we were meeting criteria for a certain amount of IEP students in each classroom. We marked if they were an enrichment student, if they were, it was very, very helpful in the hopes of balancing our classes differently. And our class placement was it was just a different world. It was all based on data, and the emotion, like fighting to get your kid help or fighting to put your kid in certain classes, was gone. And so that was a big change.
How long? Change in year. That means everybody in the green has to be changed to purple. And everybody in the red.
You mean for the next year?
Yeah.
I did it all in you select all, I changed it all over, I would say it took me an hour to do 6 grades.
Even though these kids are now, they get split into different.
Yes, because you just select all and you change to red, and then those are all now Mrs. Smith's kids instead of Mr. Joe's kids.
How many kids do you have in your school?
500 and something.
Just seeing how much of maintenance, back-end maintenance.
The biggest part was the trial and failure of trying it in different programs, and it was truly the Google Docs that allowed it to be successful because it was just quicker to link it all together, and it was easy to share it so that we could all view it. Our principal, the visual, being able to put at our data retreats the entire grade up and not having each teacher look at a spreadsheet, but to see all of the kids has been worth every bit of work and more.
Awesome, thanks.
What's the name of
Great, Sharon. If you have more questions for Tracy, you can have to share her email address or her Twitter handle.
and the author of the book? Your book?
Yeah.
Oh. That's Diane Sweeney, Student Center Coaching.
Thank you.
I'm taking them and stuff.
Do we have a, Carol, do you have a download for a MacBook Air?
Here, I got one. Well, what year? Standard one? Yeah. There you go.
We got it. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm taking them and
Hi, my name is Tim O'Connor. I am the Digital Age Learning Coach at Barrington High School. This is my first year in that position. Before that, I was a social studies teacher at Grizzly Lake North High School 5 years before that. So it's a new position. I'm definitely learning as I go. I'm excited to be here today. So my presentation will be, I think, short and sweet. We'll get after it here. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Class Dojo. I think I've always thought about Class Dojo in an elementary class or special education, which they're great for that too, but I've had some teachers use that Barrington for a high school class, and it's worked out really well in this first month of school. So the way we've used it in a high school class, which I've always found difficult to track participation, especially as a social studies teacher. You know, we did a lot of debates and things of that nature. So to track participation throughout class discussions and debates and things like that, it's really helped well to set goals for students, sit down and have discussions with them in terms of, you know, how you participated in class and how you participated within these debates. So it's pretty easy to set up. You know, you just go to classdojo.com. You create, let me go back to the original page here. So when you're in your home page here, you create a class for obviously each of your classes. You can populate the class. Entering in students, you know, you can just put the plus sign, add a new class. You can set the behaviors that you're looking for. So when you set your behaviors, you can, I know it's going off and on here.
That's better.
But adding in a student for each person in your class, you can choose the behaviors that you're looking for. So whether it's class participation, we've had Spanish teachers, foreign language teachers use it for, are you speaking the foreign language in your class, yes or no? So something as simple as that. So you set your behaviors, and then during class, whether you have an iPad or there's an iPad app, there's also smartphone apps to efficiently and easily walk around during class as students are engaging in a debate or just speaking Spanish, tracking. You either click yes they are or yes they are not, and you can keep that, you know, go back to that throughout the semester and set goals for them to see, are they accomplishing their goals. So I'll kind of show you how it looks when we're going here. So you click start class. So let's say Paul Smith, he is speaking Spanish, so you'll get a plus. All right, it's that simple. So on that, obviously this is the web-based version, but on the iPad app, you can efficiently click on a student, click yes they are accomplishing that goal, whatever you set out for them. Parents can also have access. Parents get a code so they can see how students are doing throughout the year, and students also get a code. They can change their avatar and stuff like that. So really, it's just been a good way to objectively track students on something that's pretty subjective, and then kind of set goals for them throughout the year and have those discussions to say, you know, are you accomplishing your goals? Yeah?
I've heard it being used in the elementary. I didn't realize it could be used in the upper grades.
Sure. Yeah, I always thought the same thing, and this is the first year, even though I'm not in the classroom anymore, this is the first year that I've seen it used in a high school setting, and in this first month of school, it's worked out very well, especially in foreign language. It's worked out really well with just, yes, they are speaking Spanish, or no, they are not. Then also, some of our English teachers have done well with it in terms of class discussions and stuff like that, tracking that. What tends to be a subjective thing, it's always been, I know for me as a social studies teacher, it was always hard to track class participation and stuff like that, and this is kind of a good tool to help us out with that. Yeah.
I know in elementary school, our teachers have found it very helpful because they could use their phone.
Sure.
And they could be sitting at a guided reading group, and they will be adding, they'll have the board up on the wall, and they will access it from their phone. And then also we have, like, for pull-out groups, if I'll pull out a group from one of the other classes, I have her information in my phone, so I could also add points to the kids that I'm working with. And the phone part of it has been a real big help in elementary school.
Oh yeah, I know that if you do not have an iPad or a phone or something like that to kind of efficiently do it throughout the class and you can't move around, it makes it a little bit more difficult. If you have a computer and you want to carry that around, it's kind of a pain. So if you do have, whether it's I believe it has an Android app. I know for sure it has an iPhone app, and I know for sure it integrates with the iPad. I'm not sure about the various Android devices, but I know it works well with all Apple stuff.
I used it last year. I just had one avatar I taught first grade last year. I just had one avatar for our whole class, and used it kind of more like the marble jar model.
Sure.
And that really worked well. So I mean, you can kind of, and I've heard of other teachers doing, like, you can kind of work the system to whatever works for you. So not every child has to have an avatar. You can totally, if you want to do tables or different things like that, you can do what works for your teachers or your classroom.
And one thing I actually forgot also was one of the nice things about in a social studies course, if you're having like some type of debate or something like that, there is a timer for, you can, time sessions throughout the class, so you can click on the timer and start, if they're having, it's a debate format or a Socratic seminar or something like that, timed version. It's a nice little addition, which I don't think there's access to that on the iPad or the iPhone, the timer, but in the web-based version there is. I've also seen teachers, even if you have access to a smart board, putting it on the smart board, and that gives you kind of easy access to it at the front of the room, and almost during class discussion, keep like a scoreboard, if you will, of how students are participating throughout that session, throughout that day. Thanks.
All right, who's up next? Was Barbara Smith, is she here? No, Marcy Faust is next. And then let's have Linda Hartman. Is Linda here? You're going to be after Marcy. And then we have Alice Hartel. Alice, are you here? No. How about Nancy Jones? Okay. Do you want to move up in the count? Okay.
Anyone have a dongle for the iPad?
Here, I'll have that one. I've got that one too.
You got everything.
Well, is it the new iPad or the? I have it for the.
That's the old one.
I have the old one. What does she have?
Doesn't this one?
You need a lightning connector or the 30 pin?
I don't have the other one.
No, she needs lightning.
Lightning? No, sorry.
Is that what
You know what
it's
if you
called?
want? You can use my reflection if you're interested. You want to use reflection?
Reflector?
I have reflection on your computer. You don't need a dongle, then.
I have a, I'll start. Okay. Maybe I'll grab that.
Otherwise, I have reflection.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Marcy Faust. I actually teach language arts here at Crusoe Middle School, but before I was a language arts teacher, I was a technology coordinator. So coming back into the classroom allows me to pull all that techie stuff right into the classroom and try it all out and see what works and what doesn't. We are Google Apps for Education District now, so what I'm showing you is, Doctopus, which I'm sure you've heard a lot about. And I thought Doctopus was this amazing idea, and essentially what you're doing is you're pushing assignments out to students No longer are the students creating the work and sharing it with you, and those of you who have lots of classes know that when kids share work with you, it's annoying because so much is pouring in at you. This gives the teacher the control. It sets up a beautiful spreadsheet, as you can see here. And what I want to show you is, to me, the dream, which was created by a guy named Andrew Stillman. He created this Chrome extension called Gubrick. I don't know if you know about this, but it's a life changer for me as a language arts teacher. So I just want to show you what this looks like. So this is my Doctopus spreadsheet, and I'm going to click on the assignment. This was actually a pre-assessment that I aligned to Common Core standards that I was going to be instructing in my classroom. So I'm going to pull up the student's work. I look through her assessment, and after I read through it, I want to grade it. What I've done is this little googly eye guy up here is a Chrome extension called Gubrick. I've already decided and created the rubric using Google spreadsheet. When I click on that googly eye, it's searching for the associated rubric. It's going to take a second. I apologize. It's so worth it. Double click on that. Here's my rubric. I happen to have scored this kid's work in my mind before I came up here. So I'm going to go through it really quick so you can see what happens when I'm done. It's kind of awesome. So I know that this kid is a rock star. She happened to nail her pre-assessment. Okay. So I'm going through, I know that she met just about everything until the very end. So basically, what's most important is that the kids get the feedback, right? So it wouldn't be enough for me to just score this, even though it's nice and convenient and I'm going to get an awesome spreadsheet with all my data. What's most important is that we